Online versus boots on the ground. Today we are going to discuss one of the most interesting topic that is always been discussed by a lot of vloggers here in the Philippines.
The absolute most controversial topic. We get asked this more often. Boots, it's like Coke or Pepsi. Boots on the ground, organic, meeting a Filipina, or online, going through the gauntlet of all the scammers and all the people who deceive. Today, Chrissy and I, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to relate some of the stories that we've heard from people and our own experiences and ask you. Both camps think the other camp is naive. It's both think the other camp is just totally whacked. And today, we're going to share with you what worked. I'm sure you already have a strong opinion on this.
Yes, and it's very easy for a lot of people to say boots on the ground or online. But if you're going to base it on the experiences of people that we knew, of our personal experiences, I think there's going to be difference.
Yeah. The first just wants to show up. Like, hey, I've never had a problem meeting women. It's like shooting fish in a barrel in the Philippines. I'm just going to show up. They all come right to Cebu City or Dumaguete, and, you know, they're confident. And yeah, it's true. They have no trouble finding chemistry. And the others, well, they're going to spend a few months online. They're going to have their hair on fire. They're going to have quite a bit of brain damage. But if they persist, they're going to get to know somebody quite well and determine if they're best friend material and vet that person. So there's two totally different approaches. We're going to talk about the pros and the cons. We've had videos before where we talked about where you can meet educated women. Boots on the ground. Yeah, boots on the ground. We have a book where we talk about how you can meet women online and which dating apps. Let's get into it and let's see what a Filipina thinks about the difference.
Sure.
We've had 643 consulting clients in the last 19 months, and we always ask them the same questions. We have about a battery of 10, 15 questions. Many of them went into our assessment tool, which you can find out more about at the end of this video. But we're going to tell you what works. And, you know, there is more than one way to skin a cat, Chrissy.
Yeah. You know what? Upon proceeding to discuss this two types of approach on dating Filipinas in the Philippines, I would say there's a lot of factors that could affect your approach. If you are there and ready to come here, I think sometimes boots on the ground will really work. But if you are somebody who still have a lot of things to do prior to coming here in the Philippines, and you want to start scanning online and, you know, fishing just in case you'll get a good catch, and there's a lot of that too that worked.
So, Chrissy, is it a fantasy to just show up? Is it like as easy as falling out of bed? Men think that when they come, they'll be doing the choosing. Now, a lot of men don't have as much game. They've been out of the game for a long time, and when they come here, they're going to be highly desired. But are they really doing the choosing, or do they run the risk of being chosen?
As you remember, the first time we made videos, and I said that personally, I do not prefer men on ground because Filipina will think those men have already met a lot of Filipinas in the Philippines, have dated. That's why they're here. Because the first thing the Filipino will think about dating a foreigner is that they want the foreigner to come here in the Philippines because of her, not because they're wandering around and just happen to meet her.
So is the Filipina gonna check him out when she finds out, when he walks up to her in the mall, if she's the waitress and he wants to get her phone number, is she gonna rush home and look him up on social media?
It's possible, especially if you're going to introduce your real name.
You know, avoiding all these scammers and all these misrepresentations online, that drives a lot of men's behavior. Now, you've said before, you are suspicious of men that you meet or a woman would meet here in the Philippines, that they're going to be, their currency might be devalued because the women will suspect they've been with 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 other Filipinas before they asked for her phone number.
Yeah.
They've been in the country for weeks or months. What have they been doing?
based on your experience when you're here already in the Philippines, every time you go to the supermarket, to the pharmacy alone without me, you will be asked, where's your girlfriend? Where's your Filipino wife? Because all of them will be expecting you're here because you're dating already or you found someone. So that's going to be the first expectation of a Filipina when meeting them in person. And it's possible. Like if you come here on ground to discover and experience Philippines, there's a lot of Filipinas out there that you will meet, even though it's not yet the right person, but you will get to know them, you will have a relationship with them, and then after that, it's just gonna fade out, and what's gonna happen next? You're gonna find the one next time. But it's already recorded in your history that you have dated someone else in the Philippines. It's a little bit.
Your social media may be tagged. Your passport shows you arrived 2 weeks ago. You've been in 3 cities before you met her. So she's going to be quite jealous, possibly.
Yes. And if you're going to bring your second Filipina to the same coffee shop you've been before, maybe some other waitress will say, oh, you got a new girl now. Or somebody will tip you, he's here like 2 months ago with someone else. So that's a little bit of risky. But a lot of foreigners have said that they met their Filipinas on ground, and until now, they're very happy.
One of the big disadvantages of boots on the ground, men make a beeline for Cebu City IT Park. They make a beeline for BGC in Makati. And you don't usually find women living in 1965 in the big cities or in the suburbs of the big cities. You find more 2020 women. And so there's a little bit of a disconnect because they're looking for someone who's got a very low body count, who's got a very good background, very stand-up person, old school morals and ethics. And now you're going right to the big city.
Yes. One other thing about being boots on the ground is that there's a lot of areas in the Philippines where a lot of good Filipinas are hiding or never been experienced big city life. But the thing is, you can't really go there because you're afraid, or it's a restricted area for you to go there. And the only way for you to meet those Filipinas on those areas are online, because that's the most accessible tool to meet Filipinas in the places where you're not allowed to go to. So that's the disadvantage of boots on the ground. But you know what? We're like beating up the boots on the ground method.
Yeah, I mean, you could get a scooter and drive from small town to small town and go have coffee at the coffee shops, and you can meet people. And yeah, let's not just beat up, because look, Chrissy, we have a very good client, and this is what stimulated me to have this discussion. He had a tour, and he met his tour guide, and boom, a romance was born. It's kind of weird. They didn't really date. He was leaving when he found out she liked him, and he had to leave the country without ever going on a date. But he kept in touch with her, and he came back, and he dated her, and he met the family, and he's moving to be with her in 2 months, and it's like a dream come true. He met boots on the ground, and we have quite a few clients. It's not the majority, though, but we do have a subset of clients who just say, screw it, I'm not getting involved with all these crazy scammers. I'm going to do it organically and meet boots on the ground. Now, my experience having talked to them is that they don't seem to have a problem finding female companionship. They have a problem finding their best friend. And a lot of our viewers, they live vicariously through YouTube, and many of them follow vloggers that have been some of the original vloggers 10 years ago, 7 years ago. Some have finally left the Philippines without a Filipina. Some have gone through 3, 5, 7 different Filipinas in 7 years. Married, divorced, girlfriend for 3 months, girlfriend for 6 months, went to Vietnam for 3 months, back in the Philippines. They don't seem to settle down with that magical unicorn.
Like what you said, it's easy to find companion, but it's very hard to find your best friend. So we did a survey before about where they met their Filipinas, and then it's a higher percentage of saying they met online and just a lower percentage of meeting on ground. And I think it is because there's also just less population of foreigners that come here boots on the ground and find Filipinas compared to those foreigners who tried online, since online is very accessible. Like there are some Western men who are not ready to book the flight, but they're interested to know more about the Philippines and they want to meet Filipinos. And since online is very accessible, you're just going to pay money and then boom, you get a lot of
interest.
choices.
The people who think online are naive, they think, oh my God, you're just going to meet a scammer. But we did do a survey about a year and a half ago on Philippine expats, the Facebook group. 300 men responded. 80% of the men came to the Philippines to meet a Filipina they had already met online.
Right.
And 3 out of 4 of those men ended up with the Filipina. 1 out of 4, the girl had a flat tire, and they ended up with somebody they met boots on the ground. So the aggregate score is 2 out of 5 men with a Filipina in the Philippines met boots on the ground organically. 3 out of 5 are with a Filipina they met online. And with the great distance and the culture gap, and like you said, a lot of men, they don't want to cross the desert unless they have someone selling them a camel. Unless they have this vehicle to get them where they want to go. They don't want to just show up. And we've had a lot of experience with men who showed up and were rather miserable because they were sort of out of sorts. They didn't have the kind of game where they would walk up to a woman in the mall. Now, Chrissy is always telling our subscribers, go to the mall, ask 10 women, where's the Jollibees? There's this crazy space in a Filipino's head that Jollibees occupies. And they all know where the nearest Jollibees is. And the word Jollibees will bring a smile to their face, like some childhood endorphin will kick in or something, serotonin in the frontal lobe. So Chrissy, how does this work? I walk up to a woman and I say, where's the Jollibee? What happens?
If she's single, not married, or not in a relationship, I think she would probably talk to you more, will guide you, or maybe even go with you to see where's the Jollibee is.
Walk you there.
But if she's in a relationship, of course, she's not going to engage into a conversation with a foreigner.
Yeah.
If she's married or she's in a real relationship.
Yeah. Now, we made a video about 3 months ago, and it's a 47-minute video about where to meet educated women organically, boots on the ground. The coffee shops next to the nursing schools, the churches, the other places. I'll put this here.
Check the
It's
video.
about 3-4 months ago. It's got about 25,000 views, even though it's a 47-minute long video. And we also have the Cebu City IT Park Guide. You can have it for free. Just email us at flymetothephilippines@gmail.com. Now,
let's talk about the advantages of meeting Filipina boots on the ground.
Okay. You get this immediate chemistry read. Your endorphins start shooting off. You are drawn to this other person. You are curious. You really want to get to know this person, and you get to know them very quickly. I think most men will become intimate with a Filipina they go on a first date with within 1 or 2 dates. What do you think?
Yeah, it depends as well. If the Filipina will really show that she's really into you and the chemistry will just develop that right away, it's possible. So the good thing about meeting Filipina boots on the ground is that you will avoid those not real people online, those posers, we call it posers, those who are just using other pictures just to charm Western men online.
Just a half hour ago, Chrissy had a report to somebody that over a year relationship, the person turned out to be married with children and living in another country.
Yeah, so that kind of deceit is avoidable when you're boots on the ground. Yeah. But it doesn't mean you are not prone to scam. You're still prone.
You're still prone, and so what can you find out? You can find out if you have physical chemistry. You can find out if you can't say that. You can find out if she's really a woman, and you can find out if she's hiding tattoos and things like that. And right away, you'll find out whether you have rapport. But it's very hard to find out if she's your best friend, because, and I say this, it's like an episode of Star Trek, the science fiction show. They had this thing called a tractor beam, and you are going to be that chemistry, that femininity of her, like a tractor beam is going to pull you into the landing bay, and before you know it, you'll have been intimate with her, and she'll ask you to meet her family, and on day 4, you've been intimate, you've met the family, and you are in a relationship. And once you've met the family, there's a lot of pressure not to just turn her into that kind of girl who's going to be embarrassed. Chrissy, for boots on the ground, a really good Filipina is going to need you to meet the family within 3-4 days, and you don't know her that well. You've just been having physical chemistry. What do you tell people? Should they meet the family if they're not willing to commit to a long-term relationship?
I would suggest not yet. Publicly dating boots on the ground will put the Filipina into a situation that could ruin her dignity, her status in life. Once your relationship will break, your relationship will not work.
But we always say a Filipina cannot go to a 5-star resort with a Frenchman without taking a selfie, and that picture lives forever in social media, and her family may see it, her future prospects may see it, and you may be tagged in that video as well, and that could live on too. But in general, Chrissy, I think it's rather easy to have chemistry with an Asian woman. If you are in your 50s, 60s, 70s, you come from that environment where it's a desert, you're invisible. You come here and all of a sudden your big nose and your Western features are attractive. And then, you know, beautiful head of hair, tiny little nose, height, weight proportional, 5'3", 102 pounds. Come on, who's not going to be physically attracted? So the chemistry, there's not much of a chemistry test to pass. It's like everybody gets a passing grade. All the Filipinas are very warm and cuddly and sensual, and it's highly unlikely you're not going to have a physicality match. The problem will come if she's toxic, jealous, if she throws tampo, if she is estranged from her family, friends who need money or she needs money. The wheels will come off the bus when you find out that you're not the first foreigner that she's tried to be with. You're not necessarily a love connection, but it may be a convenience connection. And you already had the tractor beam pull you into the landing bay. You've already been physical. You may have already met the family. You only have 2 weeks left in your trip, possibly. And a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. So you just stay with this. We've had a lot of clients where this is how it worked out. And then 6 months later, they're quite unsatisfied in the LDR they go back to.
They're like, feel like convenient.
It's hard to be selective. You know, you see a beautiful woman, you walk up to her, you say hello, she responds, she charms you, she touches your arm, she's warm, she laughs at you, she speaks good English, she goes to your room and she's physical with you. Okay, you're done. No selection process whatsoever. It's just you saw something with your eyeballs and you pursued it. Now, like I said, we had a client we just talked to. He met a woman, boom, done. And it happens all the time. It does. It happens in real life all the time. People just meet somebody, they're charmed, and everything matches. But why are so many of these vloggers who've been on YouTube for 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, why did it take them 12 years to meet somebody they want to settle down with?
It could be because of their standards, you know, that doesn't meet also the standards of the Filipinas. So I would say really a lot of Filipina would prefer meeting foreigners that have not been here in the Philippines yet. That's why they go online. So there's a lot of Filipinas are seeking and looking online. So I would say there's a lot of fish online than on the ground. I don't want to be like sound so biased here because that's where we met. We also gonna discuss about the disadvantage of online dating or finding Filipina online.
Well, it is, I don't want to say the word, you'd have to beep it, a blank show. You have to walk a gauntlet. And I tell everybody to build in 3, 4, 5 weeks to be spun around the axle. The chances of you, we have a friend, 5 days, he met his wife, boom. We have other clients, very short order, boom. It, you know, good karma, good, you know, everybody, some people walk in a casino and get the jackpot right away. Most other people have to work at it and be persistent. So we tell everybody, it's a very challenging environment. You have it in your head that you're the man, everybody's after you. You get 300 incoming messages. It's just, you know, you think you're at a buffet, you're just going to pick the shrimp or the lobster. No, you would typically not meet the right person the first or the second time out.
Yeah.
And I've told this story once before where we had a doctor and he video chatted for 10 days with a woman, an hour in the morning, an hour at night. And when he sent us her passport, it was counterfeit. He wasted 10 days. Now he's met somebody else, and he's very happy with having gone online and vetted somebody, but he wasted 3 weeks. You know, he spun his wheels for a week. Then he met a bait fish. Too perfect, you know, perfect career, perfect face, perfect body, perfect English, no children, but and you know, got sucked into a scam. And thankfully, Chrissy was able to point out that it was easy because the passport was just a blatant counterfeit. And we had another client the very next day who had talked to her for 3 days, and he sent her pictures, and we had just seen it the day before. So there are people there that just want to shake your money tree, and online is the easiest way for them to do it anonymously with fake documents and fake stories. Or like today, you found somebody living in a foreign country who was married with children. They're just using her photos and her name. So you need to budget time to be and you have to be willing to put up with a little bit of a runaround.
Yeah, I would say online is like one of the most convenient tool for dating. Because you don't have to be there. You don't have to be physically in front of her. You don't have to, you know, show up with flowers and all that.
You don't have to meet the family in the first week.
It's just a matter of texting and video calling. But the hardest part is that to figure out who's real and who's not. Who is the one that is being real to herself and not just, you know, shaking you with money, like a money tree. And also, one of the big disadvantage of online is that you will never know if in person you will have this great chemistry. Very easy to hide a lot of things online. You can hide anything because you're not there to see their activity at daily life when they're offline.
But the advantages to online, and we met online and we got to know each other pretty darn well for 36 days. Now I would have come sooner because at about the 15 to 20 day mark, I had found Chrissy's social media. I had ripped through it. I had vetted her completely. At the 20 day mark, we probably had 40 or 50 hours of online video communication.
That's the advantage of online because it will not stop you from fixing stuff back home. If you're like selling your business, selling your house, or settling something else like that, you can do that and at the same time getting to know the person you met online, building that connectivity with you in the relationship.
So nowadays with video is free. The opportunity to spend hours and hours and hours video chatting, finding out about the person's background. We've got these questions in our book, Fly Me to the Philippines, Dr. Annan's 36 questions to rapidly build intimacy. We have another PDF they can ask for also called How to Win Online. It has over 100 questions, including Dr. Annan's 36. And it talks about the color of personality and love languages and the eHarmony book and what was behind that and what makes people compatible. And I think the biggest advantage of online dating is the ability to really vet somebody. And I have a corporate background, Chrissy, and I did a lot of recruiting and a lot of hiring. And I learned, not at first, it took me a while, but I learned hire hard, manage easy. The quality of your team and you as a manager will be evaluated based on the quality of your team. And eventually I learned I could hire people that didn't need any management. They needed no management. You just said, go do your job. They did it and they didn't ask you any questions. It was like, and then people would tell you you're a great manager. So I always encourage people with online dating to really hire hard. Do you want to do this one more time? You've been through a bad experience. You've had a breakup and it's probably been traumatic. And on the way out the door, she put this nonsense in your head. You want to get on with your life and fix this. And you want to do one more long-term relationship. And why not vet the person? If you come boots on the ground, Chrissy, I'm afraid some beautiful woman who has tremendous appeal will look at you and tell you all the things you want to hear. And before you know it, you're in a physical relationship. You've met her family. Your vacation is up. And now she's ghosting you. She's doing tompo. She needs money for relatives. She needs money for this. And you don't have that much in common. If you're in a 5-hour car ride, you have to listen to comedy around the radio because there's nothing to talk about. Chrissy and I from the minute we met, we were able to determine we were compatible. And like, we drive up to the mountain, we don't need the radio. We can go 5 hours drive to Davao. We can just have a conversation. We love each other's company. And we knew that before we met in person. We were like best friends. I think I met you on day 36 of an LDR. I think we had 100 hours of video chat.
Yep.
And I was dominating your time, so I knew there couldn't be another person in your life. It was impossible. And you were dominating my time. It was impossible for me to be having any relationship with anybody else. I was always on the video chat with you. Always. And I wanted to be. When I met Chrissy, I just wanted to get to the Philippines and see if what I had found was real. And a lot of men have to come and find out it's not real. They have to come and find out they don't really have enough to talk about. The pictures and her beauty. And it can be spellbinding when you're with somebody quite beautiful and they can sing karaoke and, oh my God, they're from a foreign culture and they're so petite. You can be spellbound and your brain can kind of stop working. Online, you have a little bit better ability to fight back and not let your eyeballs and your little head do all the thinking. And you can get to know the person. And I think it's a tremendous advantage. When I would recruit people in business, I would go through 400 resumes, advertise in the Wall Street Journal, and I would not jump at the first good candidate. I would wait for it. And when I saw my Michael Jordan, my Ronaldo, my Roger Staubach, whatever analogy, when I saw somebody like Chrissy, okay, recruit. Now you don't hire, you recruit. You go forward and you have to sell and you have to recruit and put your best foot forward and get to the Philippines. And so one of the problems, Chrissy, with LDRs and online, this is a huge problem. A lot of men get into these long-term online relationships where like, oh, I only get 2 weeks vacation. I just used it to go skiing. This is a horrible situation because now you're telling the woman, oh, I love you and we're a match, but I can't come to the Philippines for a year. The Filipinas are wondering if you're full of it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chrissy? The man says, oh, we're perfect, but I can't get there for 11 months.
It's going to be difficult for a Filipina as well, and it's going to be tempting for them to try someone else that can come here in the Philippines right away. A lot of Filipina will also not rush it, but the way you're going to go slow and slow and slow, it's just going to make the relationship fade away eventually, because I really believe that long-distance relationship will not work long-term. It's just not gonna work.
I tell men to go online like 45 days before they want the wheels to touch down. 21 to 28 days to get spun around the axle. Another week you get lucky. 2-3 weeks of long distance communication. Boom, show up and prove yourself. It makes, if you're 65 from Texas with a dad bod, well, it's okay. You're kind of an attractive candidate. You got a pension, but you're 65 with a dad bod. You land in 6 weeks. What does that sound like?
Well, it sounds like you're very into it. You're serious. In 6 weeks, you'll be here. It means you're not playing games.
You're not playing games. And for a Filipina, she's thinking that's a good bet.
And if she's not good Filipina and she's just there for money, also it will make her think that you're not playing games. So early on, you will know that she's not into you because she's going to ask for money before you come here. She's going to try her best to get a lot of financial support before that ends, because when you come here, that's the end of it.
That's a really good point. Anyone asking for money, anyone sending money, these are real problems. And this is the essence of the problem. We've had 100 clients admit to giving $2,000 up to $150,000 US, and most of them didn't video chat. So there are some serious, serious problems with online dating.
A lot.
Now, there's another type of online dating, Chrissy, and there's 3 websites that the majority of our clients have had success. Filipino Cupid is by far the largest. I say it's like Grand Central Station. More trains, more restaurants, more CRs, more pickpockets, more fraudsters, more dirt, more filth, more chaos.
All the mix.
It's got but it's got more opportunity. There are more trains to more places.
More legit.
And we did a survey, 30% met on Filipino Cupid from our survey a year ago with 300 men responding. Number 2 is Christian Filipina. It's a premium service. the men who have paid huge money quite often have been targeted, and their willingness to spend huge money is consistent with their willingness to send huge money before meeting someone. So I'm not sure we've had good data that would support that proposition. But we have had about, of the 200 men that have been successful in our consulting practice, we've had about 50 that use Christian Filipina successfully, the basic program. They don't lead with their money. They don't lead with their religion, but they've found some women that they've gone on to long-term relationships. I'd say it's like 3-to-1 Filipino Cupid to Christian Filipina success stories, just because it's more of a boutique service maybe and high priced. And we just had another one, Pina Love. We keep getting men who find women in their 40s. A lot of women won't come out of pocket and pay a subscription. And Pina Love is quite cheap. I think it's like $15 a month. And professional women will sometimes pay that subscription. And we have had 5 or 6 men who've had success with women in their 40s who are professional women, but it's not a broad base. Other than that, it's a hit here and a hit. We've had a couple of dating in Asia. We had one on Tinder that worked out. So let me talk about some of these other sites, because there's another type of online dating. And it's the kind you swipe right, like Tinder. In the Philippines, a very liberated woman is on Tinder. If you want to meet a woman, or Bumble. If you want to meet a woman from 2026 with a tattoo on her breast, go to Tinder. You want to meet a ladyboy, go to Tinder. You want to meet a woman who is most likely to sleep with you on your very first date, go to Tinder. So if you're here and you really just want to play the field, it's all transactions. You're going to give them $60 for cab fare, even though the cab costs $3 on the way out the door. Wink, wink. You go to Tinder. And we have had 1 or 2 clients who've actually met younger women, younger college-educated women. It's happened. I'll say this again. You're in Cebu City. You're in Manila. It's not the best place to do boots. Look, if you came to the United States, who in their right mind would tell you to go to Staten Island to meet a girl, or would tell you to go to the suburbs of Los Angeles? You're going to meet a different kind of woman than if you went to Idaho or if you went to a small town like Roanoke, Virginia. So if you don't have it in your budget to get to these other places, online has its advantages. Now, Chrissy, let's just summarize some of the rules. The golden rule, Chrissy, is
do not share the gold when you haven't met the person yet.
Chrissy, you've developed this 41-question relationship assessment tool. The QR code will be at the end of the video, and if you look in the description box, you'll see the link.
You know what? This assessment tool as well, for those who haven't met a Filipina yet, you can actually use it as well as a guide, as a checker box. When you meet a Filipina, you have the assessment tool.
It's free, and you can share it with us if you want our opinion, but you can just keep it to yourself, and all the answers reside on your computer. They don't go to the cloud. And we also have tools for you to vet the girl yourself. You don't need to use our services. So if you're serious and you really want to make sure you don't get scammed, well, that's another story. You might want to hire someone.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Chrissy, do not get on an airplane to meet a Filipina if you have not vetted her social media existence, either with our free 13-page social media guide. It's the last addendum in the book, or having somebody else do it for you. Just don't do it. It's like crazy. It's who would spend $3,000 coming to Asia and they didn't check the person's Facebook page?
Yeah, you know what? I always tell you that there's nothing to lose when they do it. But then I realize, of course, there's something that they're going to lose. They're going to lose the wrong person.
That's right. Good riddance. And I think that an ounce of prevention, Chrissy, is worth a pound of cure. Okay, Chrissy, if I had a brother in America, Australia, Great Britain, he's 63 years old. He says, Chrissy, what should I do?
Get out from your couch.
Get off of your couch and do something. Okay, but should he go online, or should he just get on the plane and sleep in our spare bedroom and meet somebody? You're out of sisters. What should he do?
You can try both. Online, if you fail, boots in the ground.
There it is.
If you fail boots in the ground, try online.
The hybrid.
Online while in the Philippines.
You know what I tell men is go online 45 days before you get here. If you strike out, come anyway. If you get here and she blows a flat tire, Okay, in the morning, you search the whole Philippines with your online tool. You try and set up dates with the girls in the local town, send a grab car, and during the day, you walk them all and ask what?
Where's the Jollibee?
Till next time.
Always remember, fly smart, fly with confidence, only here from Fly Me to the Philippines.